So once you open FDB, on the menu bar there is an option task, and under task there is import a task. So we want to import the shapefile task that we just generated using QGIS. So we select shapefile task. We select shapefile task. We click next. We choose the path of the file. This is where you saved the shapefile after generating it using QGIS. So you track where you saved it, and we're going to start importing lines first. So we're going to start with MV lines. So you'll start with MV lines. Click next, and click next. MV lines. Then you select the distribution network, the entities type. Then you select the MV line section. That is the data we want to map. Then you click next. Step 4 is not important. Skip to step 5, which is mapping the attributes of your data with the attribute names available in FDB so that it can be stored. So DCS cat will match it with DCS category. So DCS cat, that is how DCS category is named in our data. But DCS category is how DCS category is actually named in FDB. So this step is very important. If you fumble in this step, you'll end up with attributes that were not correctly mapped and blank attributes, and this will make your work even more harder because you'll have to amend those attributes in FDB so that you can complete your jobs and finalize the task. So for this field mapping section, I will provide a document showing you how each feature is supposed to be mapped. That is MV pole, MV line, MV stays, LV line, LV poles, and LV stays. This is very important because it saves you a lot of time that is normally wasted in filling these attributes which already you did during data collection. So you create a new task and finalize. So it has imported the task successfully. So you repeat this process for MV poles. Okay, you repeat this process for the rest of the features. You go to tasks, import a task, select the shapefile task, choose the path of the file. This is where you stored your data which you exported using QGIS. Also, it is important to note that the order of the import is important. You start with lines, then poles, then stays. Okay, so now we are at MV poles. So skip step 4, go to step 5, and I want you to see the difference in the field maps because MV poles has more attributes to be filled in FDB than MV lines. Okay, and so you have to be careful not to miss out any attributes. Afadhali hata cross check na documents when you're doing this process because it will save you a lot of time. Then over time, you'll find yourself cramming this process because you'll repeat it over and over again. Okay, but it is way faster than inputting the attributes using multiple addition, or even inputting the attributes using the other method that I will show you. Okay, so ensure that you map all the fields that are required, and these are the fields in blue text, blue font text. Okay, so that is the aerial ad. So you'll select the MV aerial ad accessories. For those who don't know what the aerial ad is, this is the ad stock used to support the aerial ad that is installed majorly in areas that are highly affected by lightning, to add the charges before they induct the conductors. So the MV poles have imported successfully. So now you import the final task that I will show you for this section, which is the MV stays. MV stays. No, made a mistake in selection. MV stays. So you can select again. MV stays. Click next. Distribution network, you select MV stays. Skip step 4 on to step 5, and I want you to note the different categories we are going to select for this one. There is com date, which is the date of commissioning, and there is DCS cut. DCS category, actually each item has a DCS category, and stays U, MV stays U. Click next, and we are done with the field map process, and you finalize. Okay, so the next thing now is adding this task to our jobs. So for designers, the design tasks are usually in tasks, edit task, but for digitizers or updaters, data collectors, FDB engineers, most of the time you edit your jobs in jobs. So that is how you find your job as a designer. So I will show you how to do this under tasks, under jobs. So you go to the menu bar, select jobs, okay, edit job. You can search by scheme ref or by owner, and once you open the job, it will open with all the edits that had been made, maybe the design edits that had been made. The best way to do is to delete those edits or those modifications, especially maybe for polls, and then import the polls again, especially if the design is very different from the as-built. Okay, so now we want to add the task after we've opened the job. The type of task is shapefile task. You click on the internal code to sort by recently modified. So you'll select MV line. So we always start with lines, and the reason why we start with MV line is for the association tree. So our job is beginning from MV line down to the customer. So the first association is with the feeder. So we tap from the feeder. So once there is our line, once we open the task, that is our line. Okay. So as you can see, that is the beginning of our line. So the poles, most of the time, when most of the time they pick the father of the element because they snap on the nodes. But if they don't snap, you'll have to edit the feeder of the element. You can see the other attributes in blue have been filled except the feeder of the element and the type of section. Okay. So these are the only attributes will be required to edit for all your MV lines. Okay. So this is sample. This is associating the line with the existing feeder. And you save it. See, it's correctly associated. So the next thing now is moving. You see, the line itself is not connected to the main line. So because of many junks, let's undo some layers. The HV layer, let's undo it. The habitation, the reliefs, others, and labels. Okay. So let's undo all those unnecessary layers that we don't need for clarity. So as you can see, there were other modifications in my job previously. So we'll remove them so that you can have a clear picture of what we are doing. Okay. So we have to move this pole to this line. You move the line to connect it to the existing pole since we've associated it correctly. If the line is left hanging like that, you cannot finalize your job. Okay. So you have to connect your line to the existing line, especially with a node, a line node, which is usually at a pole. Okay. So now we go to poles. Let's remove this from our job so that you can see how our poles are adding. So shapefile task, sort by internal code, select MV poles, then you add the task you add the task. You can see the poles have loaded. You can remove the MV phase too. But let's first check the father of element whether it has picked. As you can see, the father of element is blank, so that means it has not picked the feeder name. So we'll have to edit that manually. It has also not picked the MV pole formation CU. This is likely due to mismatching. We mismatched the MV pole formation CU. So it didn't give us the data. As you can see, LV pole formation is okay. Now the feeder name, with some search and save. You see, the changes have reflected. So now you can save the template. This is how one of the ways you can edit. Save the template, open the other polls, and fill the template and save. That is one way of editing this data, especially when you're not working with a lot of polls. But if you're working with a lot of polls, your data is, especially maybe a whole scheme, you may need to do multiple edition. And there, our polls are okay. So the next thing is to add the stays. Go back to jobs, add task, shapefile task, and you select the stays. Okay, there are our stays. You can see the pool where the stay is located. We'll have to move it to the pool. Okay, so we go to edition and move our pool, move our stay. That is how you move a stay. Okay, when we open our attributes, let's check our attributes. When we open our attributes, you can see the date of commissioning is okay, the MV poll is okay, the MV STCU is filled, and the DCS category is filled. This is what every engineer wants to see. Yeah, engineer or cartographer, any of the two. So I have deleted this transformer so that I can show you how to add a new transformer. So this is a new graphical entity. We select secondary substation and click edit attributes. So you add it on the pole and you fill the necessary details, the necessary transformer details, and save. So when you're filling these details, you need to also edit the number of circuits and also add a distribution transformer. The number of circuits, whether they are 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on what is on the ground, you have to create them, and you create them under secondary substation. And after you create them, now you can import lines, LV lines, and associate them with the transformer. Then you import LV poles, associate them with the transformer, and then finally LV stays, and your job is ready. So what you're left with, the work left is filling in the customer data. That is the wiref, the ID, the KRA pin, those details. So for that, you can add a temporary layer that shows the customer data and label the layer using the customer names. And using from the Excel, you can input the data that is required. Then you save the project, finalize the job, wait, and after a while, request the job. Okay, so this is a method that I have been using in the past, and it has been quite helpful in data collection and digitization. And one thing that designers and data collectors don't have is time. So if you can save it with fast processes, the better. So that's it.